All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Coach's Corner, where we are doing video review with Sir Helga, and we have a couple of folks that are going to be joining us here, as well as our regular coaches. So as soon as we'll give them a second to settle in here, I'd like to welcome everybody as always. If you're following along on the Facebook page there, you're more than welcome to throw out some questions or comments on the live stream there, and we'll be happy to answer the questions as we can, and appreciate your feedback. So all right, so tonight, as always, we have the namesake and the star of the show, Sir Helga, joining us from the West Kingdom, technically joining us from Edenvelt, where she is joined by the newly departed from the thrones of Edenvelt, His Grace Morgan, who was kind enough to sit the thrones for damn near 2 years. Welcome, Your Grace, and thank you for the efforts by you and your lady to keep Edenvelt going during a really, really hard time. So I appreciate it, and we appreciate your input as well. And as always, we're joined by His Grace Thorfinn as well from the West Kingdom, some of our regular coaches for the video review. Tonight we have a couple of folks joining us. We have Noble Ursa from here in Artemisia. Full disclosure, they are my grand squire, so I might be the least bit biased one way or another, and they're used to this kind of abuse anyway. So, and we have Lord Cole from Principality of Awertha joining us as well. So they've both been kind enough to send us some video, somewhat recent to go over, and we're happy to do that. So a couple of early disclaimers here. One of the things that we do on this particular segment on the Coach's Corner is we are here to analyze some recent fights to help these fighters on their path to being better fighters. It is important to understand that as we look at these videos, we come to this from a perspective of ruthless self-assessment, where we learn more from our failures than we do our successes. So we're going to be somewhat focused on the things that they are doing poorly, so that we can tell them how to fix those things. We're not here to bring on these unbelted fighters and abuse them and tell them what terrible fighters they are. But you know, they're not as good as they want to be, and we know that, but we always just come to that from that perspective, where we can fix the things that are broken, and we can give them the instruction they need to focus on isolating and eliminating deficiencies, rather than telling them what wonderful fighters they are. So that is kind of our perspective. There's going to be a lot of information thrown at you. And Helga, is there anything I'm missing there?
Remember to hit the unmute button. So you covered everything. The only thing that we would like to remind our two wonderful guests is that if you have questions that come up, please remember to raise your hand, interrupt us. We have 3 different coaches here and, a guest this evening, like not even sure how to introduce you. And so stop us and ask questions, because if you've got questions, I bet you somebody else in the audience has questions. And so please never hesitate to interrupt and or say, hey, I need clarification. Beyond that, I think we're ready to roll.
All right, Thorfinn, got any thoughts?
I'm hoping that the rain doesn't come through the roof of my house right now. It's absolutely ape shit outside. So if you guys see me looking around, that's what's going on. Other than that, I'm really looking forward to getting the opportunity to review these videos, and hopefully we can share some stuff that'll help point you in a direction that's going to be beneficial for you.
Right. And so we know who we're working with. Ursa, would you be kind enough to introduce yourself? Give us a little bit about your fighting background and what you're working on.
Hey guys, I'm Noble Ursa. So I have been fighting for about 4 years now, and been fighting in the Kingdom of Artemisia with a little bit of East thrown in. Currently, I'm working on power generation. I have a hard time getting a good hit in. Shot selection is there, and I do my pill work, but power generation just isn't there right now, especially in tournaments. Practice seems to be okay, but tournaments, it's been a little rough. So, yeah. Hello, everyone.
Right on. And Cole, a little introduction, a little background.
Hi, I've been fighting for about 6 years, I want to say now. 6, 7 years. I think I just crossed 6-year mark. So I've been in armor from that. I came from LARPing way back in the day. And then I just kind of came to the heavy fighting side of things. And
which version of LARPing were you in? Amp Guard or?
Yeah, I was in Amp Guard for a couple of years. So
got a bunch of those.
I came over here with a full cup, learned that I need to empty my cup in order to actually learn how to fight. So this is my ongoing process. I've been squired to Viscount Sir Gregor Hawk for the last 2 years. Since March of 2019. And my fighting has actually remarkably increased since then. But there's always room for improvement. I'm always looking to challenge myself, improve myself, especially with all the great fighters I see out in the known world too. It's like, I want to be better and I want to find my place amongst them.
There you go. That's where we're here. I'm trying to see if we can help you out with that. All right. So in the worst coin flip in our show's history, Cole had said that he would rather have Ursa go first, so he can just kind of hang out. So Ursa, we're going to go ahead and look at what you got there. We have a couple of fights that you had recently. Yuri was there. Helga was there. Where was that taken?
That was Richard's house, so
is it Richard's? Okay.
His backyard.
Cool. All right. So let me go ahead and get some resizing going on here.
I keep waiting for this to happen, and you have something dirty on your desktop, and that's how we're going to start a show one of these times.
To have what on my desktop?
Something dirty up on your desktop, and that's how we're going to start the show one of these times.
Oh yeah.
Like, wrong tab.
Well, yeah, we're all very lucky that has not already happened repeatedly.
I don't know if you heard Ryan. He just said, or Morgan. He just said, "I'm pretty sure that's going to be you." Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep. All right, we'll see how this comes through with the small version here. Looks like it's not too bad. Is that coming okay across okay?
Yeah, speed wise looks good.
Yep.
Okay.
Ursa, you're in black.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, with the red belt. The short one, really.
Always the short one.
I mean, I don't know how tall that fence is, so I'm making decisions here. Maybe that's a 6 foot or 8 foot fence, right?
Yeah, I think Hago's like 6 foot on the money.
Yeah, he looks
Yeah.
that person looks about 6 foot.
Oh, Hago's also a master of defense, so you're going to see some of that coming into play here.
Arming the person who is really good at fighting with one sword. There.
And that's his dominant hand too.
Also, I'm going to say, is anybody else having the frames jump?
A little bit. It's a little choppy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's choppy.
Do we need to slow that down a bit?
Yeah, why don't you slow that down, see if we can get it to buffer all the way through. Like, at some point, we're going to get you good internet, Sean.
At some point, yes. Yeah, let's see.
Your Majesty, shouldn't you just like clap your hands and have that happen? Like,
Right. Yes, just as soon as I have retinue to unload the van from the weekend, okay? Somehow that never happens, right?
you don't have the alpacas trained yet?
No. It's the thumbs, lack of opposable thumbs.
Mm.
Always a problem.
I've got the excuse for no helpers.
All right, so I just slowed that down to about half speed.
Mm.
Is it still coming in choppy?
Yeah, at least for me.
Yeah. A little.
There
Now
goes.
it's starting to catch up.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit.
Now it's flowing.
All right, that's better.
You ever just sit there and know what's coming?
I've seen a lot of videos of me die.
And he's still almost as tall as you are.
Yep,
Right.
yep, very much so.
Did you just let him poke you in the face?
Yep.
I absolutely did, 100%.
All right, I'm gonna move on to the one with you and Yuri.
Okay.
I think you fighting another sword and board fighter might give us a little more to work with.
Mm-hmm.
No, it caught up. The video caught up with itself last time. Do we need to pause it for a second to let it maybe buffer? And
Maybe.
I mean,
You guys seen anything jumping out immediately?
Right now, I would say that the positioning of their feet's not super great, but and I'm not really super excited about the shield stance. So,
Right.
like Helga said.
There's a couple things in like I actually did my homework and watched all the videos before the show went off for once.
Nice.
And there's some pretty consistent things that we're going to see even highlighted here. So we can, now that this is buffered, we can go ahead and watch it. But I've got my list. Or we thought it was buffered.
Right? Damn the internets. Oh, nice little shot there.
I don't know. Helga, does Morgan have a better connection? Do you want to? Do you want to try
know.
running
You
it?
want me to run the? You want me to see if I can run the video a little faster?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see if I can do that. Did you enable screen sharing?
Hang on a second.
Now we can see if I can mess up all the hotkeys this time because I don't have my cheat sheet here with me.
All right, you should be able to share there.
Share the wrong damn screen. Hang on one second. Oh, nope, I'm on the right screen. Can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Cool. We were watching Yuri. Screen. Okay, how's it coming across?
Better. They haven't done anything. It's still kind of choppy, but
yeah.
I think this is the Dow of the moment.
Is that my dog? You might be able to if you share instead of sharing full screen, you can just kind of share a section of the screen.
There's a full screen. How's that going?
That's
We're
flowing
buffered
much
all the way
better.
through now.
A little better.
Yeah, you can at least see the fight all the way through.
You want me to restart it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, if you shrink your screen a little bit there too.
Wait, how do you do that?
So like take it out of full, take your web browser out of full screen, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
It's gonna be like tiny on the video.
Yeah, I mean, but you can resize it from there too. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, that's much better speed.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, Ursa, are you choosing this very small kite shield to challenge yourself, or are you? Is this what was the decision there?
So generally, I use a center-held oval. If I recall correctly, that was the day that the other one just kind of crumpled to pieces, and I had to make a new one.
Ah, so gotcha. So
I was borrowing that one.
This is not your standard style, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, everybody notes I've got this on 0.75 because I was watching these earlier. Sorry.
All right. Well, and that shield's pretty close to the same size shield that she wears or used before. The only difference is that it's usually oval instead of the
Yeah.
turret.
So your hand is way out of position right now, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's much higher up on your shield than it would have normally been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell. Okay, that's what I was kind of feeling. I was trying to figure out. To me, it felt by some of your body movement that this is not a normal. That's why I asked. Not a normal shield for you. So, okay, thank you. Nice. So you got that one, right? You actually looks like you hit him.
Yeah.
That person. Taking advantage of that no corner. Good job.
Cool. I'm gonna pause this. I'm gonna pull it out of share screen. Where the hell the share escape?
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, where's the share? Where's the kill share screen?
It's at the top.
It's not actually on the top of this one. Morgan, where's the typing?
At the top of your screen, you should say you were sharing.
You were. I'm not making that shit up. Morgan can't fix it either.
What's that?
I didn't do it.
There, I take care of it for you.
Yeah, thank you.
I have that kind of power.
Literally, there was no little drop down menu that showed up to like turn it off.
No, it's at the top of the screen where it says sharing. You just say stop sharing, but I took care of that.
That did not exist. So,
all righty,
so
Helga.
go first.
You go first.
All right. So we're gonna start with a couple base things. So normally what we do is we go to a point of impact and then we'd work back. Where you're fighting at is right now, I'm going to say that that's actually probably not going to be helpful for you. You're going to get a lot of very general stuff out of all of us, is where I'm kind of feeling this is going to go. To start with, I want to work on your base. You are crossing your feet a lot, and this actually has to do with your posture. For being a short fighter, you hunch over a lot. And where this typically comes out of is that you are throwing yourself into power. So basically, you're kind of like hucking your entire body mass at your opponent to get enough power to hit them. And this is actually a problem. This means that you're not pushing from your toes and actually generating force through your body. Instead, you're kind of like hammer fisting them with it. And so where I want to start with your fighting is point one, we need to get your base fixed. And so getting you into a stance where you're 1 foot or another a little bit further forward. And also, so anytime you see yourself cross over with your lead foot, like you need to start like tagging all of that in every video that you watch. Everybody that you work with needs to start calling you on that, because it's instantly a spot where you're never going to generate power and you're falling into your next motion. And so that's point one. And this leads into point two. We need to get you actually a little bit more upright and connected with your body. If your shoulders are not connected like crossways to your feet, you're not going to be able to generate enough power. You're a smaller fighter, which means you need to use everything you have to hit them with enough power. And so this is where I think you're probably having power generation issues, is the more you hunch forward to try to huck yourself at them, as soon as you're off balance, you're never going to deliver with force. And so this is where we want to go. The third thing that I'm going to point out, all of your offsides are flat. All of your wraps are flat. Anytime you're reaching up to hit your opponent in the head, it's flat. And you can see it in the video because you are over rotating to get your height, also because you are falling forward. So we're going to go right back to the base. I want to start working with your base so we can get that corrected, so you can actually lift your hand and not feel like you need to throw yourself up. And you can see it in the video that you throw yourself up. Also, I can tell I got hit in the armpit because there's a bruise there. But so this is going to be those general things, and then I would love to talk about this a little bit more because we can highlight it in some points of the video.
Okay,
Right.
yeah.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I didn't notice. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sean.
No, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, no. I absolutely agree. Because yeah, I do Pell work, but I never noticed in Pell work I'm not throwing myself like that. But I didn't even notice until you pointed it out. I absolutely am. I can feel it, just like throwing myself just to get something out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it may be because you're hunching over and then you're trying to reach up from a lower posture.
Do you fight with your Pell at your height or at like the average fighter's height?
We actually do have it marked out for an average fighter.
Okay. One of the things is I think you're reaching probably on your Pell and you feel comfortable reaching, so you get taller. And as soon as there's a threat, your little lizard brain is like hunching you down, so you're starting to do this at it instead. And so I would love to see video of you doing Pell work, because I bet you there's some base things that we can look at in your Pell work that would help you develop past this problem right now.
Okay.
I also think that you're crunching down behind that little shield right now, which is causing you to even be smaller, which is crunched forward like that, stealing your power, right? So you're trying to be behind that shield. So this other shield that you said was probably around that size, but also center gripped, lower base, right, would give you more coverage. I think, if I'm correct on your shield style you normally fight with, I bet with that shield you're not like this as much either, right? Because the other one, I think you're trying to squeeze yourself behind that little tiny shield, and so which is going to take away all your shoulders, hips, and everything. So just an observation.
All right, Helga, you got anything else, or you want to let Thorfinn go?
Well, I was going to say that's what I've got. I was going to let Thorfinn and Morgan go.
All right, Morgan, what do you got?
I got to say, I like your intensity. You come at the fight pretty hard, which I really respect. Yeah, I like that. I mean, you have intent to do damage, which is cool. So I think your shield, in this particular shield, this is an observation on the fact that it's kite shield, which you don't seem to know how to use very well. It's an up and down linear shield. Okay. So it's also has the top part, which works like a round shield, which is a cone defense. So the further the cone is away from your body, the bigger the defense you have, right? Now, once you start tucking it in here, what happens is the cone becomes very small. And then what happens is you have a very small chance of actually defending yourself, okay? So remember that kind of keeping it out here is better. The other thing about that line I was talking about is it has to always be up and down, no matter where you're facing towards your opponent. Once you start to turn, right, you could fudge a little bit with a left-hander, right? You have to, but it has to be up and down. If you take that offline, you lose the best leg defense of that style shield. So if you're going to switch to a kite shield, specifically center grip, focus on the up and down, right? And the oval works pretty much the same. The oval is a little bit more like a round shield where you have, it's more of a cone defense like that, okay? The other thing is that I thought, yeah, you need to work on your blow selection and targeting and timing. So it felt like to me when you were fighting the guy who had the spear and the sword, you would jump in with intent, but you would attack straight to the spear, right? You literally attacked his defense, right? Rather than going in, defended, and then attacking the target that's available or open to you. What you're doing is you're going in with a predetermined idea that you're going to throw that offside leg, right? And he didn't even have to move the spear. You attacked it, bang, done, right? So instead, come in with your defense and then figure out in the moment what is available, right? Be more open to creating right then. It's a thing you can work towards. We're all trying to work towards trying to be present in the moment and in the fight, okay? And that, and what Helga was saying is, remember, anytime your palm is forward like this, you're going to hit your opponent flat, right? That's guaranteed. Yeah. It's body mechanics, right? If your hand is like this, you're flat.
Yeah, and you can see it.
Or
Sorry,
back.
Thorfinn, can I dogpile in on that, Thorfinn?
Sure, of course.
You can see this on video. Also, if you're having a really hard time with this and looking at it, put a white stripe on your basket hilt. They're black basket hilts. Put high-vis tape on your basket hilt so when you're reviewing video, you can see if that band is present. When you can see that band on the top of your basket hilt, you're like, that was flat. That was also flat. And it tends to help a lot. I have a visual on my pel stick just to make sure that, like, if I'm reviewing video, I can then double check myself again.
Okay.
So something to think about, the way your body mechanics works is that you have the radius and the ulna of your arm, right? The ulna is straight. The radius actually turns, right? So wherever your thumb points is the back of the blade. It has to do that. There's no other way for your body to work. So as long as you're holding the sword straight, the back of your thumb, whatever you point that thumb, that's the wrap, right? So if it's going to be, if you want to do a wrap on the guy, that person, make sure that your thumb's pointing wherever you need it to hit. Same thing with the knuckles. The knuckles are going to be the front of the blade. Okay, so that's just, you can't have it be any other way.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's little ways to fudge by changing the direction of the sword, and I've seen guys do this where they change the basket direction and stuff. But I mean, really just focus on actually having good form, and you won't have to worry about that anyway. There you go. I think those are my things. I really enjoyed your videos. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I really love the note of the fact that I'm hunching down, because nobody else has really caught that yet. With all the nights at my private practice.
I mean, so, you're small enough as it is. You don't need to make yourself smaller.
Yeah. So that is going to be super helpful. Because I'm definitely.
I think we got some more input for you from His Grace Morgan there. So Morgan, you want to jump in there?
Sure. You'll have to excuse my voice. I'm losing it. I just had a whole day of court. Stepping down. The biggest thing that I'm seeing is, like, you're a smaller fighter, so approaching a larger fighter can be tough. You're not putting enough threat at their weapon to keep it locked in. So a lot of times I'm watching you step in and you're wide open and they're just throwing a shot.
Yeah.
It's not rare. It's rare that I fight somebody taller than me, but I will always initiate that fight with a shot at where their sword lives, towards their head, so that they have to leave their sword in place.
Okay, so you threat on the weapon, like when you step out.
So like, I'm right-handed. I would throw at this person's head, because they have to leave the sword there to block it. Especially with the guys I was watching you fight, they're using their sword to block the higher shots.
Yeah.
Other than that, the guy with the spear, you kept your shield worried about the spear even when you were too close for the spear to hurt you, and you weren't blocking the sword with it. As you get closer to that kind of a weapon, the only weapon you have to worry about anymore is their sword. They can't bring the spear to bear when you're too close.
Especially with him being left-handed,
Yeah.
Yep.
because he's that line that he has comes right up into your shield.
And I know it's some of this is a little bit higher level, but it's just thinking about where is the threat and making sure that you're guarding that region.
Yeah, threat assessment, right? Threat assessment
Yeah.
is something that we're all working on all the time.
Constantly.
And so, you know, the more experience you get with like His Grace is saying, with that type of thing, you'll spot it and then you'll be able to address it as you move in. So threat assessment is a skill set that we're all working on.
Well, and like when we're talking
Really good
deficiencies,
call.
I think we all live with that. I'm constantly, every time I'm in a fight, win or lose, I step out of each pass, asking myself, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? Before I step into the next fight. And it's a good practice to start teaching your brain how to read what was happening.
Oh. All right, Helga, do you have anything else?
No, I think that's actually a pretty good place to like start because all of us kind of highlighted the same, I think the same issues in their different forms. And one of the things is I think this is, you're really going to fix this by first get your posture upright. Stop trying to make yourself smaller. You're already smaller. Also, one of the things is Thorfinn, this is actually something you taught me about shield placement. You are 5 foot on a good day, like 5'1" on a good day. You know how hard it is to hit your leg? Much harder to hit your leg. You can actually relax that leg block a little bit and worry more about that kill zone with that shield, and that's something to also look at. And Thorfinn's the one that actually taught me that because I am 5'0" also.
Okay.
So that's it for me.
Well, all right, Ursa, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay.
I think I
Is
have
there-
a lot to work on.
Is there anything that we said that you're not understanding that you need some more explanation on?
No, I think I got everything.
All right. And I'll be at practice, tomorrow. So, you know, if you're out and about,
I should be.
so we can start working on some of this.
All right. Absolutely. See you tomorrow.
If
All right, cool.
we're not doing a final three, right? I just want to say,
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, Thorfinn.
I'd like to. Do you know Sir Eva from Australia?
I don't.
Yeah. Okay. So
I can make introductions.
yeah, let's make some introductions because I think that she struggled with power generation as well, and through some of the stuff that she learned from her knight and worked with me as well, she hits like a truck now, and so I think that this is a much longer conversation than the show. So I think that having someone that could kind of give you insight onto that would be helpful. Okay, so
That would be awesome.
that's my advice.
Yep, I can definitely make that happen for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
right.
you.
So yeah, I think we all pretty much hit the highlights on that. You know, for me, I think I like the way that you're approaching the fight as far as your intensity. And that's something I know you've been working on for a while. You're not really backing down from a fight. And some of the mechanical things need some adjustment, like these guys were saying. But your intensity and you actually pursuing the fight is something that I think you're doing particularly well. And I know that that's a big improvement for you. And you know, something I mentioned to Helga, you know, you've been fighting for 4 years, but 2 of those years, you know, with the Rona years, you dealt with a pretty major injury and then another injury. Would you mind just taking a minute there, Ursa, and kind of telling us about the injuries you sustained in the last couple of years? And then I also want to kind of have you talk about how you felt about your fights at Crown, because I know that even though you didn't win a lot of fights, I know that you were able to see the progress in what you've been doing in the last 6 months. And I think it's really important for people to understand that that's, like progress doesn't necessarily manifest in wins and losses. But I'd like to have you cover what your injuries were and where you think you've come in the last like 6 months or so. And because we just had Crown a week ago. And how did you feel about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, back in February of 2020, about a week before shutdown, I got into a pretty major car crash and suffered a traumatic brain injury after hitting my head on the driver's side window. And I was out for pretty much a total shutdown for me. I couldn't do basically anything for about a year and a half. And I started fighting again February of 2021. And I had about a month and a half of fighting before I broke my leg in my other hobby, roller derby. And so I was laid up for another 3 months, not doing anything. And then I was finally able to get back into fighting for real in like August, something like that. Anyways, so, and even with that, with breaking, I broke my ankle on my shield foot, which is with our shield foot forward stance, pretty much where you put all of the torque in fighting. So I actually had to completely switch up into a goofy foot stance to be able to get fighting.
Welcome to the good team.
So, yeah, honestly, like getting back into fighting, and especially after the brain injury, it was a whole nother monster. Having to deal with getting off. I mean, like, because there would be days where it would be like, I put on my armor and I took one hit to the head and I was done for the day. And it kind of sucks because, you grow up with all of these knights in your barony and be first on the field and last off, and have to really take a look at what your body can do at that moment. But honestly, the amount of progress and listening to my body had made it so I was able to fight, in my opinion, a really good crown. It felt really good to me. Even though I wasn't able to get many shots in, I made a fight out of everybody. It wasn't one shot like it had been in previous years. Like in previous years, every single bout was, I go up against someone and then they headshot me and I was done. It was something about the mindset. But this year I had pretty good fights out of just about almost everybody. And it was a lot of fun. And I came out of it feeling like a superhero. And it was really cool to see all of that, having the 2 years of injury after injury. So yeah, Thorfinn, do you have a hand?
I got to know what your roller derby name is. What's your roller derby name?
Oh, it's Zilla, because I am a massive Godzilla fan.
Well, who isn't, right?
Oh, go Godzilla.
Also, hella cool. Right on. Good for you. I just know that every roller derby girl's got their cool ass nickname, and I needed to know what it was. So that's probably what I'll call you in the future then. I think that's cool.
That's totally fine.
Zilla.
Yeah.
Well, Nurse, I appreciate you sharing that, and because I just really wanted to make the point to everybody watching out there that slow progress is progress.
Oh,
and
It's always time to come back, right?
Yeah, and progress doesn't necessarily manifest in victories in a list. But when you can go into a crown tourney after injury and pandemic shutdown and what have you, it's important to be able to recognize even the slow progress. So yeah, I knew about that history for you, and I wanted you to be able to share that with the folks that are watching. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. Anytime.
All right, Cole, you ready?
I am ready.
All right, Helga, do you want to try to play it on?
Do you want to try to load this one this time?
I mean, I can give it a shot. So I got a couple of them loaded up here, but I can start and see how it goes. Hang on just a second. Well, that's interesting.
That's never a good statement. Like, just,
There's a sharing option for video, but I don't know if it's I don't think it really is what we wanted. Hang on just a second. Go back. Hang on a second here. All right. You seeing that okay?
Yep.
All right, so this is you fighting Cyrus, right?
Yep.
Hang on, see, I'm gonna put that at so I got that at 0.75. We'll see how that comes out. Did that come through okay?
Yeah.
I didn't understand why you guys are restarting.
So what happened was in that second fight, when we both went down, I actually got him with the kill shot. It just took him a moment to register it.
That's what I wondered. It took a second to sink in, right?
Yeah, it took a second to sink in, but I got under his shield and got him.
I
And
got
it
you.
wasn't a leg; it was over the hip.
That's all I was asking. Is because
Yep.
it felt to me like
Okay.
maybe that thrust was probably pretty good. So
Let's look at that again.
so yeah, you catch him on the step in here.
Yeah, it looks like he threw the what was supposed to be a leg wrap that ended up going high.
What's going on over here?
Yeah, it was the sword. It was my sword slide that got him. It wasn't the Madu.
And this next one is with Dahoud, who's currently Prince of the Mist.
He was a fun fight.
I don't know who the cinematographer is, but I got to give him credit on the that cool kind of zooming over the top of the tables there. It was really nice.
That was my girlfriend.
Wow.
And she was walking up to the table.
These are all pretty short, so I'm just going to let these run through. Now these are all pickups after the tournament, right?
Yes, these were all pickup or roses after the fights.
Okay. Because I know you had
After-
you just had the one in the list with it looks like a buy fight with Miles, right?
I actually had a buy fight with one of the fighters in the list as well.
So who's this fighting here?
This is Squire Harathi.
Okay.
And he's from Ravensfjord. We haven't fought each other for a while. He was recovering from COVID, so he's not at his best. And I was a little winded when we were fighting.
So that last one, did he get you above the hip there?
I don't remember. I think he might have. Yeah, he got me right over the hip. Usually I try and point out where people hit me. That way I can, when I watch it over in film reviews, I can see where they got me.
Right. Let's chat more whack.
Yeah, no, he was just recovering his breath.
That was weird. All right.
You're getting pretty choppy, Sean.
Yeah, it's back to choppiness.
Let me pause that for a second.
If you restart it, it might give it time to buffer before you catch up to that point. Maybe. No. No, still choppy.
Am I still? Nope. I just slowed it down to half speed. Let's see if that helps any. All right. Helga, you said you watched this earlier. You got enough to go on?
All right, can do.
All right.
Do you
Go
want
ahead
to
and
drop
get-
the video?
Yeah, go ahead and get started there.
Okay. So while we were waiting for that to buffer, I was actually watching the fights also at the same time because, well, multiple screens.
Yeah.
Caller, so the first thing I'm going to bring up is Headspace with you. You mimic the fighter you are fighting, which is probably the reason why earlier before this show started, I asked you, hey, what's your favorite fight video, or like what one do you think best represents you? And you said Gregor. It's because you're matching his cadence. So you can see you almost instantly take on the other person's cadence. And the biggest one where it shows up is fighting Daoud and then fighting Miles. Is you are taking on their cadence. So if they're throwing at a specific timing, you're just picking that up and mimicking it. So you never really fight your fight. And so while you have a better shot selection than is actually represented in a lot of the lower end fights here, you're not allowing yourself to do that because you're not taking control of the fight, which is allowing them to set the timing, set the range. Also, you're never actually responding to openings. And so I don't know if you're actually seeing your opponent yet in the fight, versus just like, okay, cool. If I do X, Y, and Z, I get a response, and then maybe I can take advantage of it. Versus if I do X, I get Y, because then you're starting to see your opponent. And typically, if you're mimicking somebody's cadence and behavior in a fight, you're not seeing them. You're just trying to match them. So does that make sense? This is kind of that like esoteric, like way off in the weeds stuff, but it's really.
We'll need to come back to that.
Variable you are.
We'll need to come back to that because that's actually no one's ever pointed that out to me before. So it's like that's completely, that's way out of left field. So that one I want to elaborate on, but I want.
Okay. And the second thing I'm going to bring up is you're fighting like a big guy. All your power generation stops at your belly button. So you're moving your shoulders, and as soon as that twist hits your belly button, you're not actually driving any of your shots. You're using your arm strength basically to deliver a blow. which is not allowing you to move or create any flow in the fight. And so that's going to be the second big thing I'm going to point out, and then I will let the rest of the coaches go on that.
Okay, thank you.
John, you're muted.
Well, Helga, you had more time with the videos than I did, damn it.
Of course I am. Hey, does Morgan have anything to add while we got him there?
Let me unmute you.
So I get a fair amount of time with Madu fighters because His Majesty Vatenbelt lives in my backyard. The one thing I'm seeing is that the two don't work together. You're not using one to threat to open a shot for the other. It's I'm throwing this or I'm throwing this.
He's talking with his hands.
You want to start to try to think about using those. That you can use the one to open up a shot for the other, and then I never once in any of these fights saw the top spike do anything.
Yeah, the top
Almost
spike is
every-
a rare. The top spike is a rare opportunity for me to actually use. I get them more in practices than anything else.
I think part of the problem is that there's too much above your hand. You have too much stick above your hand, so when your opponent gets close enough where a top spike might work, you can't bring it into the fight unless you bring your arm back too far. Something to think about. But you have to, if you want to learn to use a top spike, you have to go into the fight with that in mind.
Yes, sir.
And start just figuring out when it works.
Right. Okay.
That's
all right, Thorfinn.
Thank you very much.
There it is. Okay. Unmuted.
Oh,
so I agree strongly about the concept of fight your fight, right? So what's going on, what Helga was saying was that you're letting the fight happen versus you fighting your own fight. So that means taking initiative, recognizing blow selection, all of those things, that everything kind of comes together like a gear, right? And then you fight your own fight. So that's something that you need to work on instead of letting the fight happen around you, right?
Okay.
So the other person is setting all of the dynamic of the fight, the range, the tempo, the blow selection, everything. You're reacting to that fighter instead of you just having you go in, trusting in your fundamental skills and then fighting your fight, right? That's what we're all hoping to do, I think. The other thing that I wanted to say was that if you're going to have this very small shield, very thin, it's very long but very thin, right? And you have 2 points of attack on it, they have to feel like an authentic threat. If you do not present those as an authentic threat, you might as well just use a shield. Okay.
Right. Okay.
So the Madu or the thrusting spear, the broken whatever the hell, or the upside down two-handed halberd, or whatever people are using it, whatever your area is, if it doesn't come off as an authentic threat to your opponent, then why are you doing it? I mean, all you've done is taken defense and moved it into a very small line.
Okay.
So that being said, I mean, I think that it's a very valid style, but I think that you need to address the not just the bottom but the top. And then I couldn't tell if you have a sliding. Can you slide your hand up and down it?
Nope.
Or is it?
I have a couple.
That's what I was wondering. Okay,
So stationary.
I've seen people who have been very successful with this idea that they have a gauntlet that they can just move up and down, which was His Grace Morgan was saying that the top part, it can't be addressed because it's too long. But if you have the ability to choke up instantly, and you can even do this with a basket hilt, just have the basket hilt be loose. You know what I mean? Inside, not attached. So it's a basket hilt that's not firmly attached at any one point. It can slide up and down the entire length of the weapon, right?
Huh. I've never thought about that. I have the handle ground down on it for me.
Well, this could be a way to address that. So then you could then choke up by closing your hand. You immediately freeze the basket hilt, right? And then you can thrust and attack. But I think that's some of my general observations. And thank you for letting me be part of your process.
I appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah, so Cole, I was going to mention one of those things that Thorfinn kind of picked up on too is that the motto for you is a skinny shield, and it kind of goes with what Morgan was saying about using the top spike. Right now, you are just blocking with it, and if something happens to show up, then you'll poke at it. But as Morgan was saying, you need to be threatening with both the Madu and the sword. And I mean, just pointing one of those thrusting tips at a target, right? Either the bottom one or the top one, right? Like you can even just take the top one and you can just kind of like bring it to bear, right? And just like find a line and let people know that there's this line here, and even with the top spike, maybe I'm too close, maybe I'm too far away to get to this, but if I close down this line, then they know that that's a line that they don't have free reign for. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
So yeah, I mean the bottom spike and but yeah, you have to like be a threat with both of those weapons. So that they know that both of those things can be a threat. Does it make sense? Helga's got something.
You need to go stalk Duke Bela and Zipser online and like go watch every one of their videos that they fight Madu on. Because I'm gonna say the four of us here don't fight with a Madu. We fight against them. I mean, he can fight with. I mean, everybody can fight with everything, but it's on the regular thing. Is go look at the people that can win lists with this, and look at how they build their weapons, how they move with their weapons, how they're presenting threats, and sit down and take some time with that video, and then go play with it out at practice and try what they're doing, and also reach out and talk to them online. I can guarantee both those guys are full of knowledge and willing to talk about the style that they have.
Yeah. Last month we had Valentine on from Kaid. He fights with a axe sort of thing, and we had Duke Timmer, who is Ursa's roommate and my former squire. We had him on. Timmer fights with a spear, so it's not really a Madu. So that thing that Thorfinn was talking about being able to change the hand position on the spear. He uses just a gauntleted hand with his spear, so he can maneuver that point all the way up and down the spear, right? But I can get you connected with him as well. Bela and Zipser, both good. There's a lot of great Madu fighters in the Outlands.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to them.
Yeah, in my opinion, Timmer is one of the best trainers of this weapon that we have. So if you look at the video review we did last month, Timmer was on there. We also had Baron Logan from the West on there as well, and so you might be able to get some insights from what Timmer was talking about from our last episode as well. So Thorfinn, you had something else?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, definitely go hit YouTube, right? There's thousands of fight videos, right? So take advantage of this opportunity. Now that you've seen how we're doing it, where we, at moment of failure, then we like stop, reassess, look at the video. You can do this. You can learn these skills and apply them on all of these videos you see. So you want to find Timur, you want to find these people, right? So go watch their videos. The other thing is that Coach's Corner has, I mean, Jesus Christ, how many videos do we have now in our library?
Let's see. We've been doing episodes for almost, a little over a year and 9 months. Yeah, more than a year and a half. And
presented by some of the best fighters in the known world, including fighters from outside of what we do. So you can watch someone who has the power generation from the Lomachenko style boxing or whatever, and apply that to your stuff, right? But there's definitely a way that you can take what we're doing here and apply it to your home, like video enjoyment. I watch every night. I swear to God, as soon as my lady goes to bed, I watch a bunch of videos every night, and you can learn so much from just watching people from all around the known world. So take advantage of that. That's a huge gift we have nowadays.
True.
Yeah, and that
That's
was
true.
yeah, like I said, that's the big thing with the way that you're using it. Oftentimes I refer to this, you know, when you look at somebody who's got a shield, you know, there are times where the shield is on a person, but they're not using it. And it kind of feels like your Madu is the same thing right now, where it's on you, it's in your hand, but you're not using it. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
It's just a skinny shield, and you're certainly not using it for the potential that it has. I mean, you've got 2 thrusting tips on that you can threaten with, and you're using it mostly as a skinny shield with the occasional, you know, thing that you can point out there. You know, and the thing about having a Madu is you get a range advantage with that, especially if your hand is higher up on the Madu. That gives you a range advantage to be able to kind of poke out there, where you can threaten somebody before they have an opportunity to be in your range, right?
Mhm.
And I just feel like you're certainly not using that to its greatest potential. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Other than that, you know, I agree with Helga that a lot of your power generation is coming from your body, right? You're a big dude, and so you don't really need to have mechanics, because you can just throw it out there, and you got extra body mass to push behind it. I think you're going to want to work on finding better mechanics, just because if you end up losing weight, and we see this with a lot of people that have a heavier body type that decide at some point to do gastric bypass or something. I was talking to a guy this past weekend that lost an entire one of me in the last like 3 years, right? That is going to fuck with your body mechanics. You
Yeah.
know, if you decide to lose weight at some point, your body mechanics are like going to be shit. Because you don't have that extra weight to put behind it. So I'd say get back to Pelwork so you just understand the mechanics better. The ironic thing about this is when you have better mechanics and you have the body mass to put behind it, you actually kind of have to tone down your power, because when you have more mass and good mechanics, you end up hitting people really hard. So you may have to kind of play with that a little bit, but
That's something
I
I'm
think
scared of too. So yeah.
I think Helga might have something more on that, but
Thorfinn was first.
go ahead, Thorfinn.
Yeah, I agree. The thing is that having this ability to you know, like you applied mass to the thing.
Mhm.
If you were to lose that, what we need to do is focus on form. Proper form allows, no matter what size or height or, you know, density or whatever, right? Proper form actually builds the right mechanics that we need. So instead of worrying about what all these other things that you may or may not do, instead focus on having proper form on all of your blows, like creation of power, creation of accuracy. These are the things that you do that do not matter, no matter what size you are. Okay, so take away from that you can just focus on good form, and no matter what you do in your life, you'll always be, you know, at least that part will be nailed in. So
Okay.
All right, Helga.
Just dogpiling, good for form saves the joints, means you don't need a knee replacement, or, you know, pins in your elbows or anything else like that. So if you practice it now, it's just going to save you. Like, you can always ramp down power versus ramping it up.
Right.
So you said you had a couple questions.
So you were talking about how'd you word it? Basically mimicking my opponent's everything, their timing and whatnot. So I wanted to like elaborate a little bit more on that, because like I said, I've never seen myself do that. But then when you mention it like that, I was talking about how Gregor says it's like fighting himself when I get in full defense. So that's why it clicked with me all of a sudden. I was like, oh, so that's what he means, is that it's not, I'm just being a mimic and not fighting me.
Mhm.
Okay.
Ursa, do you have a question or do you have a comment on this?
I have a comment. Just repeating something one
Go
of
for
my
it.
trainers had said to me that really helped with exactly this. And this is coming from Duke Michael of Artemisia, who was a Duke here, who is an amazing fighter. A fight is just a series of arguments, right? You can argue timing, you can argue shot selection, all of that. But when you agree on all of these fights, on these arguments, we both agree that we're going to fight at this timing, and we're going to agree that I can hit you there. That's when you get a fight where you are fighting the same as the person you're fighting. And so what you're doing there is you're agreeing on the fight, and then from there it's just two people fighting the same fight. So that was what helped me figure out that I can argue different things. I can argue timing, which is, am I going to hit you now or now? We can argue range, where are we going to fight at B, or am I going to get into A and argue that we're going to fight here now? That might be able to help you figure out a way to stop fighting the same fight as the person you're fighting.
Thank you very much. I will be bringing all of this to my knight and seeing what we can do about breaking this.
Yeah, and I know Duke Bryan did a video on Coach's Corner with argument theory, so that's on YouTube.
I'll have to look for that as well. Yeah, no, I'll definitely be reviewing this video again.
I can send you a link for that one.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
So
Michael was another one of my squires, and yeah, what Ursa's talking about, that argument theory is, basically you're coming into a fight and you're allowing your opponent to dictate the terms of the fight, and you were just kind of settling in and agreeing on everything that they want you to agree on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's starting to make sense now. It's starting to click.
And so basically, I mean, you have to be able to fight your fight. And I mean, granted, you are still like discovering what your fight is. But you have to fight somebody on your terms, and you have to force them to fight your fight. And you were just kind of casually, inadvertently falling into what feels comfortable. You're allowing them to dictate the pace of the fights, and that's that mimicry that you're talking about. I think Helga had something first, and then Thorfinn.
Stealing the mic this time, Thorfinn.
You can't do that. I have myself muted. That's unfair.
I mean, I feel like I managed to jump that. Like I managed to get unmuted faster than you, so we go from there.
At this point, what we're talking about is the concept. What I call is fighting as jazz. Jazz, right? Jazz is a type of music form that is different every single time, even though it's telling the same song, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fighting does the same thing for us. So be open to the idea that all your skills and all the things you apply are going to allow you to just be present in the song and the fight, and allow jazz to happen around you. Okay. And so go into it with pre-conformed ideas and all these things. But I think that that's kind of what we're talking about here, is that you can do all of those things and still be, exploring new things. So
right.
Into it.
I'm going to be less eloquent than everybody was before me. We as humans mimic while learning, and then we apply the knowledge. You need to start applying your knowledge and being willing to lose to that knowledge, because this is where you're going to start testing theories and finding out the information. So if you find that you are like, oh, I'm throwing at the same cadence they are, one, that means you're starting to actually watch the fight and see your opponent in front of you. And two, you are no longer applying your knowledge. You are just trying to survive them. And I think if you walked in with that idea of like, I'm going to apply a chunk of knowledge, this is going to likely backslide your fight for a while. Because what you're going to start doing is you are now holding different cards or holding different knowledge bases and getting different neurons in your brain to fire. I'm going to go apply this knowledge. It's going to basically pre-program your fight for a little bit. Because you're going to be like, I'm going to go in there with a kind of a plan, so I'm not just mimicking them. And then you're going to find out that you're pre-programming your fight, that you come in with a plan, you get one shot for something super stupid, everything else like that. But you want to know what? Now you're not mimicking them. So now you're just going to try to reapply that knowledge without pre-programming it. This is the next kind of mental phase in the fight where you're starting to make it your own. It will get you smoked for stupid things. Like when you're trying to make jazz and when you're trying to like not have that fight dictated to you or accept that thing, you're going to get smoked for really stupid things because you're now playing with a new idea in the fight. You need to let that happen. This is where it's ruthless self-assessment time. You need to let yourself lose for really stupid reasons so you can learn how to better your fight. Because you've learned how to survive a fight by mimicking your opponent. Different chapter, you're going to die for some really dumb things. And so just kind of hang on to that idea and go play.
Well, and she just nailed it. Like, you have learned to survive, but you are not.
Considering we have a very knight heavy fighter pool in our training list. I fight 2 to 3 knights every fighter practice, and there's maybe one other unbelt there. So it's like,
yeah, you are learning to survive, but you're not learning how to fight. Like, ultimately, like the onus is on you. You have to kill them, right? Like, I don't have to kill you, because you're eventually you're gonna do something that triggers a response and you're gonna get hit. Like you have the opportunity and kind of the obligation where you have to pursue your opponent, you have to go after them, and you have to figure out how you're going to kill them, instead of just surviving long enough, hoping that something's going to come through. Does that make sense?
It does. Actually, this is very eye-opening.
It is definitely a mental shift, where you have to go after your opponent, and honestly, most of the knights that are at your practice, they want to provide you opportunities to do exactly that, right? And so, and like Helga said, when you're going to pursue some of these fights and you're going out there and you're going to try to kill these people and you're going to get hit, but at some point, even if you're getting killed, at least you're part of the equation. At least you're trying to kill your opponent, and you're not just waiting for them to die, right?
You're part of the experience, man. You have to be part of it.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah, Morgan, you had something?
Yeah, what I was going to say is you should be thankful that you're at a practice that's got a deep pool, because you don't get better fighting people that are below you. Losing fights is where you get better.
Yep.
The trick is that you have to catalog what's happening in the fight. You have to learn, why did I lose, so that you can grow from that and learn what to do right. But you won't have that if you're not losing fights. Trust me, I have a very deep pool at my standard practice that I go to every week, and I'm very thankful for it. It's made me who I am as a fighter.
Oh, I wish I could come down to a state's practice, dude.
Well, and Ursa deals with this a lot too, because she's at the biggest practice in our kingdom, and we've got royal peers and knights all over the place, and when they get to fight us, and it feels like you're never getting any better because you don't win more fights, but then you get an opportunity to go out of your local area and you get to fight people of your same caliber, and you understand that you've gotten a lot better. And I think Ursa got some of that at Crown just recently, right?
At Crown and at Coronation, when I was fighting in Queen's Camp, what was crazy about Queen's Camp is that is a tournament where I've never, ever, ever won a fight. And like, even in Crowns, usually I'll get 1 or 2. But Queen's Champ, for whatever reason, our unbelt list, I've never ever won a fight. And then this year, I won 2 really good fights against 2 of my boogeymen, 2 of the people who I just have never been able to figure out. And yeah, being able to train with knights constantly and really, really good fighters, I totally understand that. And there's points where it just sucks because you just get to the point where you're losing all the time. You feel beaten up after every practice. My best advice is at least once a year, try to get somewhere with people, your peers, other unbelts, other squires, so that you can just see where you are. Because when you're fighting dukes constantly, when you get better, all they do is turn it up. So yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. We don't have any dukes up here, but.
And they'll tell you that, hey, you're getting better. Now I have to do this against you. But you just can't feel it in your brain.
My knight told me that about a couple months ago. I was like, dude, I'm going to have to stop fighting you at this level. I'm going to have to turn it up to 11 on you here soon. I'm like,
Helga, you had something?
You gonna do it?
Yeah.
No,
I'm
fuck
gonna
you.
cut you
Fuck
off.
you. No.
So,
This is Mario Friends. God damn it.
are you done?
Yeah.
Are you done?
No,
So-
I'm not done.
You know, he's about a foot taller than you are, right, Helga? Even sitting in the chair.
Like friendship.
So, what I was going to say is, when you go to practice to win fights, you don't grow. You should be going to practice to work on deficiencies, and that's your victory condition.
right.
Did you accomplish moving forward in your, correcting deficiencies? That's your victory. That is how you leave practice, moving forward and happy.
Right. Right.
Oh no, you're sitting in front now.
That's
Oh,
your
no,
turn.
Yo,
I
Grace.
guess that was what I had.
Yo,
To say.
Grace.
The end of my wisdom.
Oh. That was a small pool of wisdom there.
I
Like you
know.
ran up fast.
Right?
So actually, amusingly, I have to echo this asshole. Look, I actually haven't dropped an F-bomb this entire episode. I'm super proud of myself.
Oh, well, there's still a good 15 minutes left in the show.
We're about to do that. Came from a big pool of dukes. You need to die for different reasons and better reasons than the same reasons.
Right.
And that's something that falls right into the victory conditions thing. Is if you are just fighting to survive. I'm 5'5". Yes, we all argued about this 2 episodes ago. Actually, 5'5". I was dying for the same reasons because I was trying to survive a fight. Once I started playing with new ways to die, guess what got better? Like, you should never have the excuse that I'm fighting in the deepest pool in the kingdom, so I never win a fight. Cool, great. I don't give a fuck, actually. You could never win a fight for a year and a half, 2 years, because you're fighting in the deepest pool, and then you're going to go outside of that. Reset your calibrator, that's fine. You need to set better victory conditions. Victory conditions, I'm going to set the timing. I don't care how I die. I'm going to make sure that I don't cross my feet. Ursa, down there, like, I don't care how you die in that process. Pick a thing and hyper focus on it. It's practice for a reason. If you were counting, I did so well because I won fights, wrong. That is the worst way to set yourself up for failure and repeatedly setting yourself up to continue to try to survive a fight. Like, I don't care what ritual you need to make afterwards. Like, does it suck losing all the time? Yeah, it does. Like, I went to a practice with like 7 dukes and me. Like, lost. I don't think I won a fight for a year. But you make a ritual after practice. Cool. I'm going to go like pour out this cup of water and those are all my losses and everything else like that. Off and away down the road. And now we're going to focus on the good stuff. So if you need that to like feel better about losing, gathering data points, like make your own ritual about it to reset yourself, because we make rituals about winning. We make rituals about walking into a fight and everything else like that to get ourselves in the mindset for a tournament, everything else like that. Make a ritual about letting go of those losses. Because guess what? You're also going to lose in tournament. In a double elimination tournament, if you lose once, you're still in that tournament.
Right.
Start making a ritual about it to reset yourself so you can continue to go back to practice and reset your victory conditions and just continue to get better, because you're willing to die in new, interesting ways. Like, who wants the same bruise for the rest of their life? Like, I can bruise a different bruise. Thank you very much. Off and away we go. The weirdest pep talk on the planet of like, die better. What it really rolls
But no, it
down
makes
to,
sense.
die better.
It makes sense because I didn't get to hear where I am now by being a winner. I got to where I am now because when I started and I was fighting my armor more than I was fighting my opponents, I was getting my tail handed to me all the time by the better fighters or the people who had better equipment or whatever. But I was new. I still had a full cup. I hadn't learned how to empty my cup to learn SCA fighting. So it's just emptying my cup again and learning more.
Yeah,
I mean,
like I said,
re-empty that cup every practice. Like, and you can literally make it a physical action. Take a cup, pour it out every practice, and just do it again. Because there should never be the excuse of that person's got better gear, that person's better than me, or anything else like that. Just walk away from that excuse. If I ever sat on that, the three dukes sitting here talking to you would have given up on me a long time ago because they've all kicked my ass into the dirt more often than not. You stand back up and you just try to do it a different way. Especially because if you start traveling, like you're up in Alaska, you are up in the far reaches of the West Kingdom. When you start practicing, it's gonna be a reality check. Like you'll practice and be like, well, that was a new way to die. Okay. And just go at it a different way. So you can find that adaptability of I'm gonna give you
I fought Jason Drisdale one time. He was my authorized fight. And he hit me in a way I had never been hit by any other fighter or knight. And I was like, how did you kill me? There's going to be more of that.
Yeah. I think Ursa had a comment there too.
Oh, just on the kind of after practice rituals, that just going off of that tangent, what I do is I try to take winning, and losing out of the vocabulary
Equation.
and I think about what worked, what didn't, what was intentional, and what was unintentional. Like when I talk about those two fights I won at Queen's Champ, the reason I'm so excited about those two fights is because I won them intentionally. I hit both of those people with shots that I had been practicing over Pell work for the past year, and I was super proud of that. Not that I won, but that I had been working for so hard worked. So yeah, and even when you die, if you're doing something intentional and maybe it worked and someone just found a different way around it, as long as it works, right? Like it doesn't matter if you lose, it matters if what you're doing is intentional.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Ursa. I look forward to you and I crossing paths.
Me too.
Oh, we can make that happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We can definitely make that happen. All right, so we're coming up on the end here. So I don't know, Helga, you got any final thoughts for wrap up a little bit for either or both of these fighters?
I think Ursa, we want to work on your posture and footwork. I think that's going to start addressing a lot of those other secondary issues that you're having, especially with power generation. Because without a good platform, you're never going to generate good power. So and also let's geek out on some Pell work and talk that way, because I want to see if I'm worried that you're reaching for your Pell because of your height. And I would really like to see video of that so I can actually kind of confirm or deny that before trying to make that correction.
I'll get some video, yeah.
Cool, that'd be awesome. Kohler, I want to see you start looking at your opponent, seeing where their threat is, and trying new things. You need to go back to playing instead of trying to survive. So those are my kind of short wrap ups for both of you.
All right, Morgan, you got any final thoughts?
First, I would say I love your intensity, like everybody was saying, but the threat level needs to come up a little bit. And then Kohler, I would tell you, you have to start using both of those weapons. I know we talked about it. They have to. Your opponent has to fear all of the stabbies that you have, if that's the style you're going to fight.
I don't know. Thorfinn?
I'm just. I think I said everything I needed to say earlier. Coming up on the Coach's Corner, though, I think we have the second part of the new traditions and heroes, which would be the second part of the West Kingdom. followed by Don't Fight Your Armor. So there will be some new episodes coming up soon that are going to be, well, really kind of cool. I'm looking forward to them. So that's my input.
Yeah, we had to reschedule a couple of those because we had some scheduling issues this last Friday, so we decided rather than trying to jam something in there, we just kind of take a break there. So my final thoughts for you guys is really not as much for you as it is for other unbelted fighters that may be out there watching. One of the reasons that we keep doing this particular segment, and we do it with unbelted fighters, is because a lot of the problems that we have with these two folks that have been kind enough to join us tonight, these are things that are applicable to a much wider audience. There's plenty of we're hoping that there's plenty of unbelted fighters out there that are going to look at this and say that's my problem too, and be able to kind of benefit from the experience that you guys have provided. So above all else, we would like to thank Kohler and Ursa for joining us and for being willing to put that video out there and have us pick it apart and tell you all the awful things that you were doing, but more so hopefully to give you some guidance and some advice on how to go back to practice, get started with these things. You're both squired to fabulous knights, so talk to your knights about what we've kind of presented to you and see how that can fit into whatever training regimen they might have for you. So do you guys have any final questions for us before we go?
Not at this time. Thank you so very much.
All right.
I think I'm good for now.
All right.
Certainly got a
Well,
lot of feedback.
we'd like to thank everybody out there in Facebook land for watching and your comments as we're going. And again, tune in this Friday. Not exactly sure. Let's see. Let me see if I can see what we actually have planned, because we had to skip the one about we had to reschedule the one from last week. So I think this coming up week, hang on a second. Digging through, going through all the episodes we've already done. We've done a lot. Let's see. Yeah, this weekend is, I think this Friday we are doing Don't Fight Your Armor. We're gonna have Ilyahu, Tristan, myself, and Sir Rifkin talking about ways that we can, and I think Kohler was talking about that earlier, how you spent so much time just fighting against your armor before you could actually learn how to fight. So that's something that we're going to be talking about, because it's really frustrating when you spend so much time with armor bites or what have you, and you can't you can't actually learn how to fight when you don't have the right equipment. So we're going to be addressing some of that.
I still have nightmares about my first kit.
Yeah. So, all right. So thanks, everybody. Everybody have a good night, and thanks for tuning in, and we will see you on Friday.